Sometimes I want to just scream it out loud. Hollywood sucks. However, understanding that it is a business and the objective of any business is to be profitable, I always manage to temper my anger and be thankful when art does manage to claw its way out of the bowels of commerce. Hence the arrival of Nymphomaniac into my cinematic void. Nymphomaniac is a film written by Lars von Trier. It examines the exploits of Jo, a British female and self-described nymphomaniac. The story opens when a man by the name of Seligman finds the now 50-year-old Jo beaten to a bloody pulp in a courtyard outside his flat. He offers to call an ambulance, but she refuses, so instead he takes her back to his place. After getting her cleaned up, they begin to talk, and she in great detail began to describe her life to him in detail. Therefore, the majority of the story takes place in flashback. Jo informs Seligman that she has been a nymphomaniac pretty much since birth, and in a rather odd scene, at the age of 4, she is shown frolicking with another young girl. Later, as a teen, she loses her virginity to a young ruffian by the name of Jerome, played by Shia LaBeouf. In a very brutal scene, he literally breaks her in vaginally and anally in 8 strokes. There is no passion or intimacy in the scene, only the process. And it's through this scene that Von Trier pretty much tells the audience that we're in for a wild ride. Next, in a great scene, Jo and a friend of hers stow away on a train with the objective to have sex with as many men as possible during their trip. The incentive? A bag of candy. The ease with which the young girls entice the men is captivating, leading up to a crescendo where Jo literally and orally rapes a kind older gentleman who bought them tickets to stay on the train. It was an unwanted reward that shows the power that sex has over any man. As a 20-something adult, fully aware of her sexual prowess, Jo literally unleashes herself upon the men she encounters in a graphic montage that had to be seen to be believed. It all comes to a crushing halt in what I feel is the best scene in the film. It involves a character played by Uma Thurman as she confronts Jo after following her husband back to Jo's flat. The scene is painful to watch because there's a clear misunderstanding by all of the parties involved, and the way that Jo lets it out without stating the obvious is fascinating. Furthermore, the soul-crushing performance in this scene by Uma Thurman is Oscar-worthy. As for the sex in the film, it is unsimulated, fellatio, cunnilingus, anal, vaginal, and it is between the actors, but it is not porn. After researching, I discovered that the sex is real between adult film stars with the actors superimposed over them. So in essence, the sex is simulated and unsimulated at the same time. If you're squeamish or a prude about watching something that you have probably already done thousands of times in your life, then this is not the film for you. However, if you are not afraid to release yourself and look beyond the obvious, there is a work of art in this film that runs the gamut of artistry and emotion. Von Trier is a controversial filmmaker who is unafraid to push the boundaries of independent film to the very edge without tipping over into porn. I like that. There are great performances by the actors, most notably Stacey Martin as Jo and Christian Slater as her father. The original cut of Nymphomaniac was about 5.5 hours long, so thankfully the producers have split the film, a la Tarantino, into volumes 1 and 2. Volume 1 does end with a cliffhanger, but I highly recommend the film. Although it was released in 2013, it was not released in American cinemas for obvious reasons. If I could have seen this film in 2013, it would have made my list of films for that year because I highly recommend it. Nymphomaniac is not easy to find. It's not available on all streaming platforms for obvious reasons because of the sexual content in the film. But if you're able to find it, watch it. If you're able to buy the DVD, do it. This is a great film. Nymphomaniac 1 and 2 are great films. I highly recommend them, and you're welcome.